Hello everyone and welcome back to another episode from the Journal de Sylvie. I hope everyone is doing okay and fine, and today I would love to share with you what I call my museum journal and how I plan for it and how I set it up. Before doing the flip through and maybe run through one of the spreads that I have to make, I just want to make sure to start from scratch, so I'm gonna put that aside for now, and let me put that over here and let you know how I already start by planning. So to begin with, a museum journal is not the museum journal that you visit when you are out of state or out of city or out of country. That will probably go to a travel journal that you probably will dedicate for the entire trip. So for example, this is the journal that I made from my last trip to France, and over here I had some spreads about logging my very interesting experience in the museums over there, right? So again, if it's out of state, out of city, out of country, that probably the museum will go, you will log that in a travel journal. So today we're talking about your local museum, if you have one nearby the area you live. So this is how I start planning for it. This is my 2021 bullet journal, and I have over here in my weekly notebook, I dedicated this 2 pages where I have the entire year, 6 months, and the other 6 months in the second next page. Mine was the undated, so I had to stamp it. But anyway, I decided to dedicate this space for logging the local exhibitions that our museum here in Houston is basically hosting or will be hosting along the year. And it was okay with me because I didn't need that space for anything else. I already have in my monthly insert, I'll take this away. If you have the monthly as well, you will have 2 years at a glance, and you will have the current year entirely for travel. So really and truly, this was extra for the points of interest. You can be, logging any upcoming events. So the way I do this is that, first of all, you go to online, and then you check from the official website of your museum all the upcoming exhibitions, because any museum has permanent collection, basically purchased by the museum or anytime it's available, and also they host specific exhibition, which what I am logging here. So if you go to the website and log all the dates, let me tell you how I read this. So for example, we have nature theme Van Gogh exhibition hosted by the Fine Arts Museum. Sometime it started mid-February, and I color coded this with my Tombow brush pen, and I wrote inside Van Gogh, and that will start mid-February, and the next time you see this green will be June 21st, and that tells me that this exhibition will start from mid-Feb and will stay there till mid-June or till the 21st of June. This is how I read this, and it goes without saying that any time in between is available for us to visit. Another exhibition that is there already is Sea and Sky, which is beautiful blue-white type of porcelain from different cultures, especially Persia. And it started early this year, and the last day, it will be May 31st. And last but not least, I'm very excited that they will host also Monet, which I came to realize almost everybody likes Monet and this type of beautiful paintings. And this will start the 27th of June, and it will go all the way overlapping with another one till 19th of December. So this will help us, like me and my husband, plan our visits and avoid you know, the first 2 weeks and the last 2 weeks, because they usually are too crowded. We are still doing things with a lot of restrictions and safety measures for COVID. So that was the point about how do I plan the local exhibitions hosted by our museum. And by the way, just a note, if you are like really interested in this and it relaxes you to look at paintings, to take pictures, see different artwork from different places of the world, it might be more economic for you to consider being a member, because with a member you get to visit all those new exhibitions for free for one time. And I'm talking about the fine arts of Houston, but I'm sure if you are a member, it comes with a lot of kind of benefits, like they waive the parking fee, or it's down to 50%. You get vouchers to invite others for free, and so on. So if you are a regular visitor to museums and it's something that you really enjoy, you may consider being a member. It's probably going to be cheaper. Okay, so enough about the planning, now you know. And today I'm going to give you the flip through of an example, and I am also going to create a spread about this particular exhibition, Pompeii. That was very, very nice, and it was hosted by the Natural Science Museum. Very, very impressive, and I brought some material with me that I will need, of course, to add in my museum journal. So, moving on to that. Okay, so now that we planned everything, I'm just gonna go through a quick flip through for the museum journal. It's really nothing complicated, it's just a gallery where, you know, you see pictures, of course, if you can draw, basically to recall and remember the experience. So as I mentioned, this is like big size because it's from the local museum, and I get the chance to get a lot of material. Usually when it's a travel journal, it's probably the standard size. So this is just a collage from for the cover, basically, from different items taken from the museums, and that's another kind of introduction page. As I mentioned, this can be museums, gardens, mansions. There is a lot of philanthropists that left this to be open for the public, and basically left their houses to become museums. And that's a quick flip through. I used to print, I print less now, and I'm more focused on the material I get from the museum, like pamphlets and brochures. Also because I'm not very impressed with the quality of my pocket printer. And over here it was our visit to the gardens of a place called Biobent. Beautiful house, beautiful gardening, beautiful landscape, and so on. Of course, you can include pictures of yourself. This is another one of my favorite exhibitions, which was for Norman Rockwell. I learned a lot about the kind of early American history with the Great Depression, and how life and war affected that time. So it was very beautiful and also educative. We got some time back an exhibition for the Royal British families, from the Tudors and all the way to the current family, the Windsors. Van Gogh, of course. So I got those two brochures from the museum, but the rest was complemented by some art stickers and Van Gogh washi tapes. Over here is just a simple postcard from a mansion we visited in Galveston Island in Texas, and it's famous with oleander flowers, and that is actually a window in the house. More from that place. Another smaller museum that had a collection of African art, Pacific Island, and it was very nice. That's another mention. And then I kind of printed I cut the pictures to make it look more like a sticker for the details that kind of grabbed my attention. It's a beautiful house as well. And this was a site of the gardens. Like, pictures doesn't do justice, because in reality walking around this place was really nice. And you can see this is the brochure that had lots of emphasis on the gardening. And really there is not one way to do this. It's just basically you're logging your collection, so whenever you want to go back and remember. This was an exhibition named The Glory of Spain, obviously from kind of medieval Spain. And as a lover of art and books, I was so impressed with the old books, historical medieval manuscripts. And again, I cut it to look like a sticker. I decided to add this black background for more highlight. And this is one of my favorite spreads. You don't really need to write much if you want to write your reflections. What did you learn? Of course, you can elaborate more, like you can, if you learned something particular or it reminded you of something. This was another exhibition for Berthe Morisot, and it also had some of the Picasso. Berthe Morisot, I already saw this in France, so I have part of this kind of repeated but with different paintings in the Travel Journal of Paris. But for this one was this is the same Van Gogh, but it's just like I printed the pictures later. So again, I became they had a studio where they were featuring basically small details that he was in theory using. This is us, and today I am going to start my spread for the Pompeii exhibition. Thank you. So over here, as you can see, this is pretty much the collection that I kind of gonna put together in the spread dedicated for that exhibition. Some of this was taken from the newsletter we receive, you know, as member from the magazines of the museum, like when they announce for the exhibition. And I prepared a couple of quotes that I saw over there in the panels when, you know, they describe the story. So this is pretty much what I will be putting together in the next spread. Okay, so I'm adding the final touches for this spread, and basically the date that this eruption happened, or this tragedy. Very well, so I finished my spreads for the exhibition of Pompeii. As you saw, I added some touches. This was a summary, or like an introduction from one of the panels. Of course, the day of the volcano eruption. I added some drawing here, like, you know, the mountain, and to add a little bit more dimension to it. And those were my two favorite quotes, as mentioned. And finally, this is the last spread, and as you can see, the theme is gray from the ashes and dark from yellow and brown from the volcano eruption. I hope this inspires you in any way. Please let me know if you like it, if you have comments for me to improve my spreads or more ideas. I'll be more than welcome to hear from you. And that's it. Happy journaling.